Okay, so we're live here from the Cultural Treasure Studios here in Hammond, Indiana. I'm here with Sister Yaa of the Sankofa Repatriation Project. Sankofa Repatriation Assistance Program, is that right?
That's
Okay.
correct. That's
So
correct.
yes, we're here with Sister Yaa, and again, this is the Black Present Show. We're welcoming all of you viewers to see a little bit more about what we're doing for ourselves, for our living Black culture, our living Black civilizations now today. And I learned about the sisters program with like 2 or 3 days ago. I hit her up right away. I said I have to interview this sister. I have to get her on the show to talk about what she's doing with this Sankofa uh, repat. And and I just thought it was so visionary and compelling. I'm not going to say too much. I just want to get into talking to the sister. She can explain everything herself. This is Sister Yaa. Awo Yaa Asantewaa. Did I say it right?
Awo Yaa Asantewaa. On Facebook. That's one of my Facebook
That's one
accounts.
of your Facebook names. Okay, how would you like us to know you?
Sister Yaa.
Sister Yaa. Okay, Sister Yaa. So Sister Yaa is really one of our uh, soldiers fighting for this repatriation program. Like repatriation meaning going back home to our roots, going back home to the motherland where we come from, and reclaiming our land, reclaiming our culture. So I wanted to give you, just give you the floor, say a little bit about what inspired you to do this, and a little bit of background about yourself so people can really relate to what you're talking about.
Okay. Thank you, brother, for reaching out and letting me come on your show. I really appreciate that. Um, I am Sister Yaa. Everybody calls me Sister Yaa. My government name is Tanya Safir Unkma. I am an attorney. Got my undergrad degree in political science from Austin Peay State University. I'm a U.S. Army vet. I am a Army brat. I grew up in the Army, and then I went in the Army, and then I got out and did my undergrad at Austin Peay State University. Went to law school. Graduated, got my law degree, my JD at University of Memphis School of Law.
Mm-hmm.
And I started practicing criminal defense work immediately because I was clerking at the Shelby County Public Defender's Office while I was in law school. And so as soon as I passed the bar after I graduated, they brought me on as an assistant public defender. And I did that for a good year. And then I opened my own law practice where I handled a variety of cases from civil, family law, and primarily criminal defense work.
Okay.
And I became, and this was in Memphis, Tennessee, and I became very, just emotionally despondent, seeing how our people are treated in the criminal justice system.
Mm-hmm.
This, just how we're targeted, the disparity in treatment, the disparity in sentencing.
Mm.
Anybody who's read Michelle Alexander's book, and that book is on point and everything. There's a direct correlation between us coming out of slavery to prison. The prison industrial complex right now is directly related. And feeling like I couldn't do anything to help my people, just was so overwhelmed and saddened.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to run away. And so I said, I just picked up, packed up and closed my practice and moved to St. Croix, U.S. Virgin Islands. I said, because at that time, Africa seemed so far. I wanted to go to Africa then, but I was like, Africa is so far. Let me go, closer, and where there's a majority of Black people. So I just packed up and moved down to St. Croix and went to the public defender's office. and to the Attorney General's office. And I said, look, I just moved here from the States. Told them who I was, had all my documentation. And I said, look, I need a job. I'm here with my kids. And the territorial public defender at that time, he was like, we don't have any openings right now. But the Attorney General said, oh, okay. And he interviewed me. He told me to come back like in the next day or something. He had the deputy attorney general there. They interviewed me and hired me right away. And I started working as an assistant attorney general on St. Croix, and I did that for 7 years until I resigned in 2015 because at that point, Africa, I started visiting Africa from St. Croix.
Okay.
I had been calling me, and I said, man, so I started going around 2010. And back and forth visiting, and I met my husband over there, and I did the paperwork. He came over here in 2012. We got married. In 2015, after all these years of seeing our people, what was happening wasn't really directly related to white people doing anything to us, because the police were black, the judges was black, the prosecutors was black, everybody was black, black or Caribbean mixed.
Right.
But I just got overwhelmed at that point with seeing how we were treating each other, just how badly we were hurting each other. Right. And around 2015, I just couldn't take that. So I said to my husband, I need a sabbatical. I need to go on a hiatus or something. I need a break. This is emotionally, it's hurting me to see this. So he said, okay, if you want to, I said, I want to go to Ghana. And so he said, okay, I'll support you if you want to do that. So I resigned, took all of the money I had at that point in my retirement and the two younger children, and I packed up and moved to Ghana. And I just was so happy. That's the happiest I've ever been in my life. And I don't want people to get the impression that I'm saying that Africa is perfect, because it's not. It has problems, but it's problems that if we come together, we can fix them, and it will be a paradise for us. You understand? So that's how I ended up there. So at the time, after 2 years, Ghana started having what they call doomsor, which is it was lights out. It was a very serious problem with the electricity at that time, and it was affecting everything. It was affecting the economy because they couldn't really get it stabilized, and so it was affecting business. It was affecting a lot of things, and I dealt with it, and the children and I dealt with it for a while, hoping that it would get better, but it just kept deteriorating. So in 2015, I told my husband, I said, okay, well, I think we have to come back until this gets fixed, So we came back here. My husband was in Virginia at that time working, which is where we are now. And so, but during the time that I was there, my husband had started some projects, agricultural projects. So while I was there, he had purchased land. He had started a poultry farm. His brothers were primarily the ones, handling it and dealing with it. And so we've expanded it. We've included, we got pineapple farm. We have acres and acres of pineapple. We have cocoa farm. We have a lot of agriculture things going on. And now we're adding some more livestock animals to the chicken as well. So being over here and working and just sending the money back so his brothers can manage and expand what we have going on. But my time there and seeing how my children were able to thrive and be free of just, the negative energy and the stuff that's going on here and the negative news every time you turn around, and it's, Black people being shot and just being in an environment where everything was Black people all day long just was very refreshing. Crime in Ghana is very low. It was, I felt safe. The children were safe. It was still a sense of community that you don't really have here in the States, because most people just get off work and they go in their house. They don't really associate with their neighbors and things, but it's not like that in Africa. Most people spend the majority of their day outside, socializing and being with other people. And so everybody looks out for your children, and it was just something that I just really hadn't really experienced since I was a little girl from Mississippi, growing up. But things have really changed in my lifetime. So it was just refreshing, and I began to think how much better it is for our people in Africa. But I saw that the vast majority of people who were able to stay successfully were older people. The people who had reached retirement, out of the 10,000, approximately 10,000 people from the diaspora that are in Ghana, 75% of them are like 60 plus.
Okay.
And that's because they have the Social Security, the pension, and all of that stuff to be able to stay, or people who are already kind of independently wealthy from whether other source. But the vast majority, which is the younger people who represent the vast majority of us in the diaspora anyway,
right?
Who have to work jobs and pay bills and can't get that, can't save to acquire the funds that they need to make a successful repatriation, because you need to either have a steady source of income or you need to establish a business,
right,
to be able to stay. So, the younger people are struggling, and I saw this, and what they're doing is that they may raise some capital and they try to go over there and do something. But when you have to pay for your housing, your transportation, your food, and all those things, and if you have children, you have school fees, that money runs out fairly quickly, and you haven't been able to establish anything for yourself. So a lot of times they have to pack up and try to come back over here and figure something out, go back to work again, try to raise some more money and go back. And people have been doing this back and forth dance, some 10, 15 years trying to make something happen. So I said, it has to be a better way. They tell us that we have spending capital of 1.3 trillion, the Black community, just here in America. We're not talking about our brothers and sisters even in the rest of the world. But if we have that much spending capital, surely we should be able to come together around a common goal, a common theme of empowerment for our people, and support it.
Right.
So that we can create something for ourselves, because other races of people are doing that. These people that come from the Middle East and open up these stores, or come from India and open up these 7-Elevens, their families and things put money together for them to be able to do that. They just didn't come up with that money. But so they are practicing group economics, and Black people, for whatever reason, we don't recognize that we have to do that. We've been socially and economically oppressed for 400 years. These people have gone out of their way to make sure that we don't rise as a group. Now they will allow one or two entertainers, actors, ball players, things like that. You got your Oprah Winfrey, but they don't represent the masses of us, who are just trying to survive and living hand to mouth. And even people, if you look at people making 6 figures in California, they don't have extra money. They're literally spending 6 figures to live there. So I said, okay, we got to do what Marcus Garvey attempted to do. We have to complete his mission. We have to practice group economics We have to come together around a program that will benefit us all. And that's what the Sankofa Repatriation Assistance Program is for, because I've come to the conclusion, like many of our scholars and elders before us, that separation is the only answer. We're not going to have peace living amongst people who want us, dead, or
Or in jail,
who don't have any of our best interests at heart. So
exactly.
we have to do what's best for ourselves. So I say, regardless of whether you make 50,000 or 25,000, everybody can come up with $1 a month. So the program, we're asking our brothers and sisters who are descendants of kidnapped and enslaved Africans, whether you're in the United States, the UK, the Caribbean, or in South America, wherever you are, contribute $1 a month. And when we get $1 million a month coming in, we will begin to repatriate 100 families between Nigeria, Ghana, Sierra Leone, Senegal, and the Gambia.
Okay.
And set them up in business. We're going to provide them with 6 months housing, so they don't have to worry about where they're going to live. We're going to give them a monthly stipend, so they don't have to worry about how they're going to eat, how they're going to move around in terms of transportation.
Okay.
We're going to take care of their residency, so that as soon as they arrive, we're going to get them their residency permit so that they're in these countries legally. We're going to register, because with their application to be, repatriated, they have to submit a business plan, business idea. They have to be able to show us that, okay, they have something that we can fund to set them up in one of these countries. Okay. And then we're literally going to hold their hand from the beginning to the end. So we're going to put them through a cultural reintegration course to teach you really how to be an African again. Okay, we've been gone for 400 years. A lot of us just, we don't have any identity anymore in terms of being African.
Now, please, I got to pause you right there. Can you say a little bit more about what you have in mind for that cultural reintegration program?
Yeah, so if somebody wants to go, say, to Senegal, we'll talk about some of the cultural norms and things to expect. Don't hand anybody anything with the left hand. That's considered unclean. Teach them some phrases about, in Wolof, and, just some basic phrases, how to communicate.
Right.
When you go see a chief, what you're supposed to do, because we have royals. People think of, when you say royals, most people think about Queen Elizabeth and all these white people in Europe, but we have royals in Africa, okay? And how you're supposed to, what things you're supposed to do when you go to see a chief, what's expected, so that you don't look out of place, so that you pay proper respect. Things like that, just basic cultural things that you need to know if this is a community that you're going to go and live in. And we want to put them with an adopted family that will be on the ground with them. And because I found that when my husband was here, when I was there with the children, I found that having his family there really helped me. Because I was a part of a family. So I had family to go to for get-togethers, for dinner. If I needed to go to the DMV to get my driver's license, I had one of his brothers or his fathers to go with me. When I first started moving around and I didn't really know what the price of things cost, somebody in the family would go with me to make sure that they weren't overcharging me, until I realized, I got accustomed to how it was and how to maneuver on my own. So I had family there. So that's part of the program. We want to put them with an adopted family so that the family, family members would be there to help them integrate into to society and the culture. So that's part of the cultural reintegration as well.
Okay. Wow, that's great. That's a very complete plan that you have put together. And you said for 1,000 families?
100 families every 6 months.
100 families every 6 months. Okay. So that's
and we put them, those who don't know how to run a business, because a lot of our people have skills.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of our people have education, expertise, skills,
right.
But they never ran a business. So we want to put them through, and they never ran a business in an African environment.
Right.
So we want to put them through a business development course.
Okay.
To prepare them for that. But we're not going to just walk away. So we're going to hold their hand. We're going to help with, helping them staff the business that they need and workers. We're going to help them with, that 40,000 seed capital is going to go towards the materials they need. $40,000 in, I'll use Ghana for example, but in any of those countries that I mentioned, is a lot of money, right? When you do the exchange rate.
Mm-hmm.
So it is not a small sum of money in African currency, right?
Right.
So, and then when you consider that labor is very expensive, the price of things is very expensive, we feel like 40,000 is a very good, and when you look at the fact that they're not paying for housing, they're not paying for anything.
Right.
All of that money is going to go towards developing that business. I don't care if they want to do a juice bar, right now, health food, vegan restaurant, all of that stuff. Somebody wants to try to start, a nurse. If you're a nurse and you can open up a little clinic. You're not a doctor, but you can do a wellness clinic for women who are pregnant. You know what I'm saying? You associate with a doctor, you can see these women up until time for them to deliver and pass them over to a doctor. Africa has been so underdeveloped. There's the need for everything. There's a brother that contacted us from Memphis. He's in finishing chiropractic school, and he asked me, do you think I can be a chiropractor over there? Absolutely, because guess what? There aren't hardly any. So that's something that's needed,
Right.
So Akon has been he's been sounding the alarm and telling our people that they need to come to Africa and start businesses, because Africa is where the top emerging markets are in the world right now.
Okay.
And every other race of people know that, and they're going over there to reap the benefit. And we who have been left out over here economically are just letting it pass us by. You know what I mean? Everywhere else in the world is declining economically, but Africa is rising. Africa has the youngest population in the world. So there's your workforce right there, whereas the workforce in the West is getting older and they're not reproducing babies like they are on the continent of Africa. So a number of studies, if anybody want to know, all they have to do is go Google and put in top emerging markets or do Africa Economic Outlook, and they'll see the top countries that all of these people are talking about: the World Bank, the IMF, the Brookings Institute, all of these white people talking about and telling each other that they need to go to Africa.
Right.
And our people are just over here like oblivious, you know what I mean? And working for somebody else and making other people rich.
Now, one thing, I wanted to kind of paint this picture, because we have a lot of us over here kind of like isolated. You're talking about how people in other countries, people from other cultures can get funding from their own communities to go and open up businesses anywhere in the world they want to go. But we don't have it together like that to function as a group, to function as a collective, and to support each other like that. And we can see how, we would be able to benefit from that. A lot of times, we have a lot of intelligent people in our communities, a lot of people who are, capable, but somehow end up unemployed, end up on the streets because they don't have, there's nobody out here who's giving people something to do productive, and then they end up, with different elements who have something that's destructive they can get into, but there's not a organized community effort to get us moving in a direction as a group. So that's why I really appreciate what you're doing here, because that gives us something kind of like, not only something to do as a collective, but something that's going to get us back home, so we can really have our like home base. We can have a home base that we're operating from.
Absolutely. I can't say that Black people have not tried over here. We've tried. Right. It's just that living in the house with your oppressor, and they control all the resources and they have all the power, it's difficult because they can just destroy whatever you build, and they've done it time and time again.
Exactly.
So I say we need to stop spinning our wheels. First, we need to stop begging, and we need to stop spinning our wheels, and we need to do what every other people. You don't see Chinese people getting all emotional, and you don't see Chinese people putting all their hope into a political system that oppresses them. They just say, they don't really care. I don't really see a bunch of Chinese people going to vote. They don't care because they have their own community that supports, they support each other. Right. And they buy from each other. They keep their money in their community. They do everything, So.
And then when they want to get to get together as a community in Chinatown, they say, whoever the alderman is or whatever the councilman is in, the city, they want to put pressure on them. They can get together as a community and put pressure on whoever's in office, because they can work together as a group. Exactly.
But we don't do that. We just keep, talking about voting, but we don't make these people, we don't come together as one moving unit to say, these are our demands for our group. And, and if you don't do what we want you to do for our group, if you're not giving us anything tangible, then we won't give you our vote, but I don't know, it's like we've been destroyed from if you look at, Rosewood and it seems like from integration, we have lost all our political savvy. We've been destroyed psychologically, right. And we fell for this sense of inclusion. And it was a lie. It was a big lie. It was a big delusion. It was a false narrative that was given to our people. And we fell for it. But now, it's been 60-something years. It's time to wake up. Right. You got to wake up. It's not working. And I say the solution is, as far as I'm concerned, and a lot of other people tend to agree with me, is we have to go home.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I definitely agree. And, that's my same goal.
If these people had any intention of fulfilling any of the promises or doing anything, I mean, it's been 400 years. It's been 400 years, and we're literally fighting the same fight that our grandparents, we're literally dealing with the same thing. We're dealing with discrimination in housing. There's still redlining. There's still voter suppression. All the things that, I mean, the prison industrial complex is just, like I said, just an extension. That's modern day slavery. We're still dealing with this. So how long? The question now you have to ask yourself is reasonable, right thinking people. How long are you going to stay here and fight and argue with these people?
Right.
And how long are you going to
fight the same battle and then steady losing every time?
Are you going to let your children and grandchildren? I have grandchildren now, Am I really going to stay here and have them dealing with the same thing that my grandparents and great-grandparents were dealing with and fighting? These people, I don't know, even just to be Black and to try to go get a loan. First of all, they don't want to give you a business loan, first and foremost. Second of all, if you just want a car, they'll let you have a car because a car is not even an asset anyway. You know what I'm saying? It depreciates as soon as you drive off the parking lot. You've lost money. So, right. And then, and look how much you've paid for it. If you don't pay cash, look how much you pay for that amount of money. A white person your age with the same income and the same credit score will get a lower interest rate than you. So it's costing you. This brother wrote a book about it. It's called The Black Tax. How just being Black over here costs you more money than it does anybody else. Your mortgage, they're going to charge you higher interest rate on the mortgage because you're Black.
Right.
You see, yeah. So I'm like, how long are we going to just keep accepting this, excuse my French, fuckery? You know? So yeah. I'm like, come on, we got to get it together. Dr. Claude Anderson said on the Breakfast Club a couple months ago, I think around November, December, that we're in a really critical situation, that we're really, he said that if we didn't do something before the end of this year, that it was just, if we don't come together and wake up, that it's pretty much over for us as a group in this country. He said that coming out of slavery in 1865, Black people had 0.5% of the total wealth in this country. And here we are in 2020, and we have 0.5% of the total wealth in this country. We haven't gained anything.
Yeah, I mean, wealth-wise, or anywhere else, really, we haven't gained anything. And it's kind of scary to think about, the gentrification that's happening in all cities in the country. You see it all over the place. I was just in London about a month ago. They're doing the same thing over there, pushing black people out of the city.
Not just there.
I've seen it all over the U.S. and I'm sure it's all over.
These people have not changed. This is what I'm telling you. They're doing the same things they're doing that they did when they arrived here to the indigenous people and to the Black people. They're doing the exact same thing. They're doing it differently, but it's the same thing.
Just
I had an interview with a brother here. He's a PhD candidate, and he's done a documentary on the Maroon people in the Palenque in the Afro-Colombian. And when they escaped their ancestors and they set up Maroon communities, and these communities still exist. And at some point, the government had said, okay, these are, this land belongs to you people and y'all stay there. But now, because there's resources on the land these corporations are encroaching on this land that had been given, and say, okay, you people, that's yours, y'all good, y'all escaped, y'all set it up, it's yours. Then they're killing the activists and the people who are defending their land. The same thing they did and they're doing to the native indigenous people in Brazil who are trying to defend their land, who are trying to keep these corporations off. They're killing these people and trying to take their land. This is what they did when they first arrived here.
Yeah, it's been happening ever since,
And they've never abided by any treaty that they've ever given anybody. Look, they just, United States signed a deal with the Taliban saying they were going to leave Afghanistan yesterday, and they dropped a bomb on them today.
Hey, real quick, before we get off, I wanted to ask you maybe about a couple other things. One was, we have this narrative nowadays that Black people in Africa, they the ones who sold us out. They don't like us. They don't want us over there. They come over here. They don't like us over here, and this and that and this and that and this and that. As someone who's been over there and spent extended periods of time over in Africa, how would you respond to these kind of accusations?
It's people who've never been there say these things because they don't know what they're talking about, and it's ridiculous, and it's not true. Did some African people engage in the slave trade? Yes, some of them did. But guess what? A lot of them fought against it. A lot of them were not with it and fought, and went toe to toe with white people against slavery. You know, and it was always like it is now, the trickery of the white man. You come in and well, you know, they had the guns. Our people didn't have guns. You know what I mean? And some of them really succumb to it because if I don't do it, then they're gonna take my people. You see what I'm saying? So I don't blame them. I don't. I mean, I don't. I don't. And but this thing about they don't like us or they don't. That's not true. Many of the chiefs in Africa who ancestors participated in the slave trade have apologized and they offer land and they want us to come back. They're trying to do their own form of reparation and make amends. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They've gone. You know, a lot of chiefs have gone through the Caribbean. They come here. Right now, I'm working with Nana Obakese, Empire One of Asabu Pan-African Village. He's given 5,000 acres of land for us if we want to come home.
And where is this?
Huh?
Where is this, in Ghana?
In Ghana, in Central Region. He's given the Sankofa Repatriation Assistance Program along with the UNIACL under the leadership of Cleo Miller Jr. He's given us the sole right to issue people that land.
Wow.
So if you want your plot, we'll have the site plan. We're having an event here in the DC area for anybody that'll be around or want to come. May 16th and 17th, we're launching a Sankofa Repatriation Assistance Program city to city tour, where we're trying to spread the word about the program and do some fundraising. And the first event will be here, May 16th, May 17th, and we will have the site plans on at the venue. People can come, you know, get your tickets on Eventbrite. The first day is an expo. There's a vendor, if you want to get a vendor's table. We're looking for people with African food, African arts, African crafts, books. For vendors, we have 30 vendor tables. We don't have 30 left now, but you know, people can get, you know, there's still tables available.
Okay.
And then that's the first day. We have a lot of wonderful speakers. We have a delegation, the Minister of Tourism from the Gambia. The President of Gambia knows about the Sankofa Repatriation Assistance Program. I've been invited to the Gambia to meet the president about this program. I'm very excited about that. The president of Ghana has been made aware of the program, and we're trying to get the director for diaspora affairs here for the event as well.
Okay.
Things are changing. Things are changing. So what we're going to do with the land, we'll have the site plans there. Anybody who wants to get their plot, the land is free. The land is free. Let me say that again. The land is free. Okay. You do have to pay for your own registration of your title. Okay. You know, to do your survey and the demarcation and to get the title. But the land itself is completely free. The chief is giving it away. I will be registering people for that, along with, like I said, UNIACL. And then you have 2 years to build and put something on it, because they're not giving away land just for people to hold a title and say, I got land in Africa. The point is to develop it and build a community for ourselves. And so a lot of chiefs are giving land but that's more than the descendants of the white people. What are they giving us? Nothing. You know what I'm saying? And they're telling us to come home.
Okay, sister. Well, man, like I said, this is exciting to me, and it's exciting to me to see, you know, kind of like just this idea of a mass mobilization of resources. I wanted to say on behalf of the One People Project, we will commit to making one of these monthly donations. You said you're asking everybody to donate $1, so
yes, a minimum of $1. You know, some people are giving more. You know, because they have more to give. But we want everybody to feel like no matter what their income is, you can come up with 4 quarters. You can come up with 4 quarters, you know, every month. That's $12 a year. You know? Yeah.
Yeah, and that's so, it's so practical that, it's really only a handful of, you only need a little bit of money, and it's so many of us. If we just given a small amount, we can do a lot with it, and we
Exactly.
with what you're talking about, like the potential, the possibilities, how many people can be helped by this program.
And brother T, this is what we want it to be, is a bridge. We want Sankofa to build a bridge. So once we put 100 over there, right, and get them, hold their hand, get them set up in business, guess what? Now that 100 can say, okay, cousin, I'm here. I'm established. I got a business. Come on, I got you. You see what I'm saying? And while we have gone on now with the next 100, and once we get the next 100 over and set up, then they can do the same thing. They can bring somebody. You see?
Right.
So that's how we're gonna do it. But with one person here trying to make it by themselves, one over here trying to make it, it's not gonna work that way. We have to do it as a collective.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, yeah.
And one last thing before I go, I want everybody to follow us on our YouTube channel. Is Sankofa Repatriation Assistance Program. We have a lot of great videos. We're doing the Sankofa Repat Challenge. I encourage anybody who wants to be considered. You donate to the Patreon for a minimum of $1 a month. It's on our website, sankofarepat.com. Mm-hmm. And then you send us a video, a short video, no longer than 2 minutes, telling us why you should be one of the first 100 that we select to go. It's just a little fun thing we're doing to try to get some, people excited about it. And that's it. And our email address is admin@sankofa.com. We're on sankofarepat.com. We're on Instagram and Twitter. So and we got a building fund. I've identified a building that I want to be the Sankofa Repatriation Assistance Program headquarters in Ghana. So we got a campaign going on right now where we're raising that money to rent the building for a year. If anybody donates $200 towards that, anytime they come to Ghana, they can stay rent free for a week. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get that building in November. That's when it's going to be available. It's 4 bedrooms, 2 on top, 2 on bottom. Very modern, nice, near the beach. It's lovely. People will love it. So we're trying to do some stuff.
Cool. Wow. That's like I said, I'm inspired. I hope the viewers are inspired, and we can work together to get some collective mobilization going for these kinds of programs. Thanks again for joining us, sister, and definitely hopefully this won't be the last time we can get together and talk about some other things. There were so many questions I was having, different things I wanted to ask about and talk about, like you and your husband's business, and maybe some of the differences between St. Croix and Ghana that you observe, things like that. I wanted to get into all that, and I know it's so much.
Okay, we can talk again another time.
So yeah, let's make this. Maybe we can have you as a regular guest, and again, best wishes for the project, and I'll be doing my part, what I can to support.
Thank you very much, brother. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you. My regards to your family.
Thank you. Likewise to yours.
All right.
All right. Take care.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.